Okay, so you want to automate some things. So how about starting with video encoding? That's always a good start, and there are some amazing people to make some really awesome programs to help you do that. I'm going to go over one that's called handbrake-watcher. The documentation is easy enough to follow, but I thought I'll just make it easier, or try to make it easier. You can follow along, and I've got some example scripts I've made. Alright, so let's get started. First up, we need to get our resources. Let's go ahead and get our handbrake.cli from handbrake.com.fr. Then we go to GitHub under the repository Shena handbrake-watcher. Like I said earlier, it's explained really well already, but I guess this video is for those people that just want to blast through it and get going. So we need to install npm, and you can install that by searching it in Google. It's really easy. Now next, we use cmd or command prompt or terminal, some kind of terminal to install handbrake-watcher, and we'll do that by running commands. And okay, so I'm going to start with a test folder, and in this test folder I'm going to put the handbrake.cli.exe inside the same folder, and in this folder are going to be the videos we intend to encode. So first, we need to make a file. Let's start with Notepad. Create a new Notepad file and save it as handbrake.properties, and then you can copy my example code into that file. If it matches your criteria, you can just use it straight away, but I doubt it will. So anyway, we'll save that. This is fine for the example. Next, a bit of a personal touch. I'll create a .bat or batch file, and this will just make running the handbrake-watcher easier. It's very simple, and if you see on the second line it says pause, that's just, to not close when finished running. So like if you're running something you need to debug or see what the result actually is, you can hit pause. And so like when whatever script is finished running, it will stop and normally close, but pause just keeps it open. So you can use that for many things like Python or something like that. Anyway, on to the next bit. Next, we need another file. Let's call this one, create another notepad, let's call this runme.vbs. VBS, Visual Basics script. Now, yeah, this brings me back like when I was in high school. The computers were so locked down, you couldn't run things like exes or anything that needed higher administrative privileges. And .vbs, the file type wasn't blocked, and so I just made a bunch of scripts that just kind of unblocked all of these things so I can just have a free system. But I guess things have changed since the early 2000s. Now, so this code I'm putting in the VBS script file is, it'll run the batch file without any pop-up notification, nothing in the taskbar, even nothing in the task manager. And the only configuration you need to change in this file is the address to your batch file. So wherever your batch file is, just enter that address there. We will test this setup on a random mkv file I had lying around. Run our batch file and it encodes, and we have an mp4 file and the mkv is gone. You can change the settings so it doesn't delete the previous file, but your preference. So, but if you are like me and you value taskbar real estate, we will use the script that I made. I'll copy the mkv back and run the script. And as you can see, the mp4 file has been created again, and the video encoding has begun. Now, how the handbrake-watcher works is that it will scan the folder every 5 minutes for a new mkv file, or whatever file type you specify. Now, there is one exception to that. If the file is not older than 30 seconds, it'll skip that file and then wait another 5 minutes. And the advantage to this is, like, when you are recording something like an OBS or something, you don't want it to try and convert that file straight away, because it'll just be a busted up incomplete file and it'll just be a headache. So what it'll do is it'll wait until that file is 30 seconds old, and then once it's 30 seconds old, it'll convert, delete the original file, and you're done. And yeah, I just fast forwarded 5 minutes and you can see it's autonomously running, which is great. So now that I run, so yeah, that's how I run my stuff. I have other folders where I dump different camera footage in, from the cell phone, from the video camera, from the action camera. They all record in different ways: 30 FPS, 60 FPS, 1080p, 720p, 4K, and so they each need their own watcher folder. So let's jump back into the Git repository for a moment, and you can learn how to configure your own properties. Now it links us to a lovely place called the Handbrake documentation. Yes, unfortunately you will have to do some reading. It's not a picture book like in primary school, it's big kids books like from high school. So, for example, how it works. I want to change some video settings. So in the documentation it says -- encoder space your encoder settings, be it X whatever, H high quality something like that. But the handbrake-watcher just changes the format a little bit, so it's kind of like translating, changes a little bit. So -- encoder will change to handbrake.options.encoder equals, and then your encoder options. So for example, let's pick another one. Let's pick output. So in the handbrake documentation it says -- output. So for the handbrake-watcher we need to change it again, we need to translate it again. So it'll be handbrake.options.output equals, and then your output wherever you want it to go. Now that I made this easy tutorial even easier, I don't want you all to be like, hey, oh my god, this is a great guide, I really like this. Oh, but can you help me do the settings for this particular use case, please? And I'll be like, wow, if this process is too hard for you, then may I suggest you use the graphical user interface with lots of pretty pictures, drag and drop down menus and all that, because I think this is pretty easy. Anyway, thanks for watching. Remember, I didn't make any of the stuff, just a little bit of PC knowledge and some smart people's work, like and stuff. Thanks.